It's time now for Reclaiming America with our counterculture mom, Tina Griffin. Tina, welcome aboard. Good to see you.
Hey, thank you. How are you doing? How was your holiday?
Not bad. Had a good holiday. You too, I hope.
Absolutely. Happy New Year.
There you go. And let's see if it'll be less crazy than the one before it. I kind of doubt it.
I doubt it.
Our first story of the inaugural New Year is what's going on in California, where they're using public money to build a all-gender locker room at a swimming complex for a high school. Talk about this.
Yeah, Dr. Duke, you know what? It's a Happy New Year if you're not in Southern California. I'll just say that. A California high school has unveiled their plans to build an all-gender locker room. There's symbols behind my head that I don't even know what they mean any longer. It's getting so confusing. The Long Beach Unified School District will build an all-gender locker room at the new Aquatic Center at Wilson High School in Long Beach. Like you said, Dr. Duke, it's being paid for by the taxpayers, and most of them are absolutely against what's going on through what's called Measure E, a $1.5 billion school repair and safety bond measure that was passed by voters last November. My question is, who are these voters that are trying to pass this and did pass it?
Yeah, it is scary. When you think about how poorly the public schools are performing across the country, and then you look at all these referendums, we seem to, as American people, the worse they're able to teach our kids, the less they teach our kids, the more money we hand them over, not to improve math or reading or science skills, but to build these incredibly huge complexes. Take a look at the blueprint here. In the bottom right-hand corner, you see where there are the inclusive bathrooms, right? As far as I can tell, they are the only bathrooms in the facility, and anybody can use anybody's bathroom down there if they want. And look at the way the lockers are positioned. Everybody gets a good look about who's changing and showering as well.
Yeah, it really makes my blood boil because I just see this as a total plot to give Planned Parenthood more customers. I mean, when people are seeing each other naked and undressing in front of each other, boys and girls together, not only just the uncomfortableness of that, but their whole identity is being trashed with who they are and who God designed them to be. On top of that, it absolutely is going to open the door for sexual activity. And I can bet you right now there's going to be people having sex in these inclusive locker rooms, which then, of course, they get pregnant and head over to Planned Parenthood. So I want to know if the money is tied to them as well. According to CBN News, Long Beach has a reputation of being LGBT inclusive, as it allows students to use bathrooms and locker rooms based on their gender identity, as well as participate in sports teams based on their gender identity, not their actual sex at birth. And once again, their gender identity is being defined and explored and pushed and given to them in class during the rest of the school day.
Well, this has less to do with the demand of children than the vanity of their parents and the local educrats there. They're building these palaces to LGBTQ for their own vanity, for their own sake, to show about how virtue signaling on a nationwide platform. And it's just such a shame. Like everywhere else in California, those kids aren't really blowing the doors off of their reading and their math and their science skills. And so all that money getting dumped into this pit.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm thinking about as we're talking about this story, how do these students feel? I can guarantee you a majority of these students are in an uproar. They feel uncomfortable. I'm now getting parents that are calling and texting me, some even from way up in Wisconsin, saying, Tina, what do we do here? We now have a gender neutral bathroom, the biggest bathroom spot. It's not just a small little one staller somewhere down the end of the hallway for people that are still confused or getting more confused by the minute being in a public school. It's the largest bathroom. And I had one mom call me and say, my daughter can't even go to the bathroom in this bathroom. She feels very uncomfortable. Well, what do these students in Long Beach actually feel? I bet you they're petrified and probably are hoping they don't have to go to the bathroom from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Well, you make a great point that this is not just an accommodation for what is supposed to be a marginally small group of people. This is something that, because of a very small percentage of potential users, they're going to teach the rest of us a lesson. Heteronormativity is now being singled out and treated as if it were an ugly minority. And for a handful of kids, virtue signaling kids and their parents, they're going to make everybody else uncomfortable. We don't have a lot of good news to be in the beginning of the year, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about courageous Matt Walsh and his new Amazon book. Talk about Johnny the Walrus.
Yeah, you know what? He's fantastic. He actually, I believe, moved to Tennessee because he's creating a storm out here and speaking up in our school board meetings. Writer, speaker, author Matt Walsh, very vocal voice against the transgender movement. He's representing 99% of the country. A lot of parents feel the same way. He's released a new children's book that tackles the trans agenda targeting children. It's called Johnny the Walrus. Basically about a boy named Johnny who has a big imagination. He pretends to be a dinosaur next day and night in shining armor or a puppy. But one day he pretends to be a walrus. When the internet people find out he likes to play make-believe, they try to force him to choose between who he is actually is and makes him force into basically choosing one of these things. He chooses, can't decide actually what to choose. And then his mother is very progressive, forces him to be a walrus, and the mom eventually learns that just because her child says he is a walrus doesn't mean he actually is that. Proving a point that you can't just shove down a kid's throat that they are not who God designed them to be. And just one day this different gender, another day a different gender. It's constantly blowing in the wind according to trends when we are born the way God designed us to be, male and female. He created us to be. Go to the Counterculture Mom app and download it, Google Play, iTunes Store. Click on Premium and then say yes to getting notifications. We pump out pop culture alerts every single day. About half are positive, awesome, grab it, get it. Half are run from it, these people are nuts. But parents are loving the Counterculture Mom app. We got a great team behind there, making sure you get the power back in your hands so you know what hogwash to run from before your kids see it.